Welcome to the On the Slab Horror Show with me, your host, Ian the Dynamo Kelly, joined once again by my co-host, Greg Flanagan, and he is officially now a member of the On the Slab Horror Show team. So he's capital C once again on this show.
Capital C, capital O.
Capital C, capital O. And Greg, we kind of, this was an easy decision this week. To come to this conclusion. You know me in terms of my love of horror. We're both very similar, and you know that I'm very much a nostalgic person, especially when it comes to old 80s horror and stuff like that. But
you can't go wrong with 80s horror though.
And anybody that knows me will know that probably my favorite director in general is one John Carpenter.
Really, I would have said Wes Craven now myself, but look,
John Carpenter's my boy, yeah. And well, he's produced all my favorite films, and they're all going to be talked about here at some point. And we've already done Halloween.
Done
Halloween, and there's plenty more to come. But we decided to go with this week with the 1982 sci-fi horror. To be fair, John Carpenter's The Thing,
and probably the single greatest remake of any movie ever.
I would 110% agree with that.
Well, it technically it is a remake, so
it is. Go with that, but, it is, and us being horror nerds ourselves, we would be called out for it if we didn't say it. So I'm glad you did say it. To be fair, but it was obviously it was directed by John Carpenter, written by Bill Lancaster, but it was based on, I think it was 1938. It was. It was the John W. Campbell Jr. novella, Who Goes There? And obviously we know it's about a group of researchers basically in the Antarctica who encounter the eponymous, the Thing. And I read that. That's the only thing you're going to hear me reading from Wikipedia, purely because I thought that's exactly how you should present this show. Do you know what I mean? It's exactly what it is.
Straight facts.
The Antarctica, obviously there's lots of, and there's still lots of rumor and innuendo and kind of conspiracy theory based on it, that the Antarctica is a kind of a place of mystery. And obviously the Admiral Byrd, who was probably the most decorated, pilot in naval history and all, went over there and said he saw plenty of things once you got it beyond that. So I think this movie is kind of almost based on the idea of extraterrestrial, whatever it may be, being up there somewhere,
Well, would it be in the Antarctic? You know what I mean? It's the harshest environment on the planet. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You don't have time to spend fucking 6 or 7 hours out there digging in the snow to see what you find. Like,
and it's funny because when I was a kid, I thought it was Alaska. Because you assume anything with snow is just Alaska, like, you know what I mean? But
where is it? Nome, Alaska.
But the thing about it is, I mean, like, it's kind of almost true to real life. And the book coming out in 1938, it was there's still, if you go on Google Maps, you can't get a proper shot of Antarctica. You can't see what's there. And even when you go to visit, you're very, very
limited
as to what you can see. So that's where the kind of the comment comes from the military and stuff, that there's been extraterrestrial activity up there and stuff that's been found that obviously is government intel. Don't forget, it's the only place on Earth that you cannot visit, that all countries in the world have actually signed a treaty towards that. You cannot go there. So.
Well, I don't blame them either though. Like, you know what I mean? How quick the weather changes here, it's going to change a hell of a lot more. It's more dangerous if it changes down there.
I don't think it's necessarily
there's definitely
due to the benefit of our health, though. To be fair, one of my favorites was that it's to help the penguins and all up there, and I'm like, you could probably help the animals in the Amazon and the one with what goes on there too. I don't think you really give a shit about what life gets up there. But anyway, we're segueing. We're just kind of giving a basis on where the idea probably behind this movie came from. As I say, 1982, really kind of getting now from the late 70s into the kind of early 80s, where you're seeing the improvement of animatronics and stuff like that. Especially with the being a little bit bigger, and that's
he
something.
Took the animatronics in this to a whole new fucking ball game.
Unbelievable.
I don't know who he hired to build them, but they should have been given an Oscar for that alone.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things as well. But like Dave Foster, the producer, and Lawrence Turman as well. Like, props to this whole team on this movie, because again, it's an absolute. The casting in this, as is always the case with John Carpenter movies, is just incredible.
I think this is the first one he cast Kurt Russell in, wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe so.
He went from this, then he obviously done Big Trouble in Little China. He brought Keith David with him into They Live with Roddy Piper.
Man, how good is he? I love that guy.
Keith David.
I love that guy so much, man.
But like he found his cast that he liked, and he stuck with them.
He was very loyal to his cast members. Yeah, he was very loyal to his actors and stuff like that, and obviously his team that he would have, but very loyal to his cast members in particular.
Yeah, it was like if you signed Carpenter up to be the director of a movie, you knew what you were going to get. Like, you knew you were going to probably get at that stage Kurt Russell along the way, and I mean, you knew he was going to bring his team with him.
Absolutely.
But if you have something that works, why change it?
And that was the thing, and like at this time as well, like you're looking, it was, it had competition about other kind of alien movies with the likes of E.T. was out around this time as well.
Well, they both got released on the same day.
Yeah, so there you go.
That's one of the reasons this is kind of overlooked was overlooked. Like, it had a pretty poor box office for what it was.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt.
But then again, E.T. is a phenomenal movie as well.
I will never hear a bad word about it. In fact, I almost shed a tear when I went over to Orlando and realized that it was probably the surviving ride of all my favorite movies as a kid, because obviously the Back to the Future ride was gone, the Jaws ride was gone.
Yeah, Jaws is just hanging up now, isn't he?
Jaws, yeah, that was replaced by that stupid little prick Harry Potter. So fuck you, Harry Potter.
Actually, that was the first ride I went on when we went to Orlando. Was the ET ride?
Yeah, and I was so happy to get on that, because they kept it all the same. It's all, and I believe Spielberg actually said that if they got rid of that one on him, he was ready to pull out of some sort of contract that they had, and that would be
I'd say he would have took the rest of his things with him, and that would have been that.
Yeah, and you can't really afford to not have Spielberg on board in Hollywood.
Well, then again, I think that's probably the only one left of his now, though, isn't it?
It is. It's the only one. The Jurassic Park ride was still there.
No, that's gone now. So that's been replaced with Jurassic World.
It was there when I was still there. It was the last. It was the original ride, but yeah, that's been replaced as well. So
the Jurassic World one looks unreal.
It does, to be fair. I have no problem with it. But let's get into this movie. Obviously, it's basically the start of it. We're not going to go through it word for word or scene for scene, but you kind of see the sled dog kind of running through the snow, being chased by this Norwegian helicopter. You don't know it's a Norwegian helicopter yet, but
your man has this guy must have been a stormtrooper in Star Wars.
Oh, like
Jesus, he's terrible.
The worst aim ever. Like I feel bad for his wife when he's going for a piss, to be honest with you. I'd say she has to clean up all the time.
What happened? Toilets on the wall over there. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. But yeah, so initially you're going, what the fuck are you doing chasing this poor little dog for, you son of a bitch? You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, like that's what I liked about this. When I think when this was coming out, they didn't really give a whole lot away.
No.
They never said anything about it being an alien or anything. They just said
exactly. It was just a thing, you know what I mean? And I think what I really like about it, obviously, look, John Carpenter's scores are the best for me. In terms of horror movies, there's not much better.
In terms of any movie, really, it's not.
No, in terms of any movie, I think he creates more suspense with like the most simple notes.
It's an all two key move for Jaws, and I know he didn't do Jaws, but
it's what works. You know what I mean in these and like his Halloween score, in this score, everything.
The Halloween one was absolutely perfect.
Yeah, it really was, and it's the same with The Fog, which we will talk about one day on this as well.
Yeah, like if you look at the Halloween one, if you change that even to a little more upbeat, the whole film probably doesn't work as well.
It's gone. It's gone. But with this, I think it's really cool because, excuse me, people assume that, McCready, who is, of course, Kurt Russell, is what a man. Absolutely. But they assume that he's kind of like, he is the main guy in the film, but at the same time, he's just the pilot. So it's not like he's this sort of decorated veteran there. And you know what I mean?
He's really probably the most replaceable person there.
Sure.
Well, you've got your doctors and scientists and the dog guy, you know what I mean? And then you have your pilot.
Well, that's it. Like we'll go through the names. We have McCready, we have Blair, of course. Blair is what a man. We've Knowles, we've Palmer, we've Choiles, we've Dr. Copper as well. Norris, George Bennins, Clark, Gary, Fuchs, and Windows. And it's great, like, because it's again Windows. It's great. What a name! And the great thing about it is that again, it's a cast of just enough people, not too many. Do you know what I mean? Enough that you can actually build a bit of a rapport with them throughout the film, and you get to know their character.
Yeah, but what I like about this is one of those movies that what will go wrong or what can go wrong will go wrong.
Murphy's Law, right? Yeah.
But it shows the fractions within the team, the fractures within the team, and how much people turn on each other and how quickly they do it.
In isolation, dude, it can happen. Do you know what I mean? And that's kind of what this shows. It shows a little bit of that, how the claustrophobia of kind of being deserted out in the wilderness. And
I'll tell you what, you couldn't pay me enough to get down there.
Yeah, like it's kind of mad. What I like about this is obviously you see, McCready. Obviously, he's the pilot, so I guess that's why he's so important that he needs to bring people from A to B. He's basically a taxi man, and
you're not walking out there anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And Dr. Copper obviously goes with him to check out the Norwegian base. Why don't you talk us through that bit? Oh yeah, because you watched it today actually. Going
to the base, or what happened to the chopper
when they go to the Norwegian base, because obviously they know with the chopper basically they're shooting at the dog.
Well, they don't even know that. They just see the dog run in and he shoots your man in the leg.
Yeah, he shoots him in the leg and you're like, what the fuck is this?
The funniest of the lot there is he goes to pick up a grenade to throw it after the dog and threw it right beside the fucking helicopter that he came down on.
That was actually hilarious, man.
And he does not care. He just walks off and leaves your man there. He was trying to get to the grenade.
And they thought it was Russian initially. I love that little. It's still at the time where they're like, "Oh, it must be the Russians."
Yeah, American Russia, great crack.
But obviously, when they find it's like it's Norwegian. What the fuck's going on here? Like
they're like the most peaceful people ever.
Yeah, we've never had any beef with Norway. What's going on? So obviously, that's where it was bringing you up to the scene. Then when they go and investigate the Norwegian base, and there's some pretty gnarly looking stuff there, and some great scenes, and the way it was done was fantastic.
I'll tell you what, like when they go in and you see the outside of it, and part of it's on fire. Well, not on fire, but it's smoldering. All the windows are broke. They go in I love the fact that they go in and all the ice is like coming down, frozen on the inside. It's some of the little touches that he's done with the set. Like, do you know what I mean? It's in the Antarctic. It's gonna go to minus whatever. Yeah. But obviously the smoldering will still happen.
Yeah, of course. To an extent. Yeah, of course. There'll still be smoke, yeah.
Yeah, and they go in and they find one of the doctors on the chair. What I love here is you can see his wrists are slit and his throat slit.
Yeah.
So you see like blood is frozen hanging from his arm and all.
It's deadly. It's really well done. The little details.
That's it. It's the fine details that can make the difference between a great movie and a good movie.
Yeah.
And like they're going around and then they find they see outside, they find the body that's on fire and they're like, is that a man? And just looking at it, and it's just, you can't really see anything when we see it, but they obviously just turn around and it's a man. They're like, right, we'll take that with us. And they find the big block of ice then inside. It's like looks like an old frozen Olympic swimming pool.
Yeah, it's weird. It's kind of it's very strange, or like in the shape of a bathtub or something. It's mad. Yeah. Like it's very strange.
But like the amount of movies that have come from this, let alone the thing, and I don't know whether it's a prequel, a sequel, or whatever they want to call it, that came out in 2011.
Yeah, that was a prequel, and to be fair, I'd recommend anybody if you don't.
It wasn't bad.
No, if you don't like that movie, I'd recommend watching them back to back. I done that about a year or so ago. If you watch them like literally, boom, just watch the two of them at the same time, it makes all the sense in the world.
Because when I seen that 2011 one, I didn't know it was a prequel or whatever.
No, me neither.
And it wasn't right up until when he puts the axe in the wall.
Yeah.
And then obviously in that one they see the axe in the wall, and I was like, no way.
Brilliant. Going into it, unbeknownst to you or to me, it was just
But like, there's the X-Files done an episode that was almost the exact same as the thing.
Yes, when they were
brand new.
They locked Scully up and they locked Mulder up in the
It's nearly scene for scene basically.
Yeah. It was actually one of my favorite X-Files episodes. Actually, I only watched it a while back.
There was another film that I watched. I think it's called Parasite, but not that one that won all the Oscars. And they find like a woolly mammoth.
Yeah.
And like a little weird parasite starts infecting people. It's just a thing all over again.
Yeah. And it shows the influence. And obviously with Clark, he's kind of the dog guy, so he kind of kennels the dogs because they obviously have a lot of sled dogs there.
As you would.
Yeah, of course. And he's the guy, and that's when you kind of see the fucking weird. You can see why this dog was being chased down, but you're like, what the fuck is going on here? And with all that kind of shit coming out of him and stuff like that, the animatronics and that. Oh my good lord, that scene is fantastic.
I'd say that looks like. Do you ever see the rubber or the little rainbow laces you get as sweets? It's literally like them just whipping around.
Yeah, just coming out of the poor dog's body, and the rest of the
noise of it.
The rest of the dogs are fucking terrified, obviously.
But how about that first scene with the dog there, where you see them all back into the corner, and then they look over the dog, and the dog's face is hanging off, and it just explodes out into like the proboscis thing that it has. It's that there to me. Blade 2 took everything from that, I'd say.
Yeah.
The way it opens up here and into the far parts and the thing comes out.
Yeah.
You could see that.
Even elements of the Predator and stuff, like with the ideas that they were getting. Do you know what I mean? It's just little things like that. They probably went, "Oh, that's interesting."
Well, Predator has taken it from this, obviously.
Yeah, you know what I mean. That's
if you're looking for an alien movie, and the first one you're going to think of is like at that stage when you're making Predator, you're going need to design an alien. Let's have a watch of this and see how they done it.
So when he does the autopsies and whatnot, this is when it starts getting really interesting, and this is where you were talking about your love for the animatronics in this particular movie.
It's just fucking ridiculous, like. And
the doctor's so calm and great about it, isn't he? Like the rest of them are all going, "What the fuck is this shit?"
I love how he's cutting it open, and he's like, "Oh yeah, it's got everything, lungs, kidneys, everything's fine except this." And he's like, it's trying to replicate what it's attached to, and he's showing like the dog's head inside it, but it's not fully a dog's head, so it's trying to form the skull and all, and you're just like, wow.
Yeah, it was.
Like how do you even design that? Like,
but that's it. Like you have to give props, like proper props to the the artists that even come up with these ideas. You know what I mean?
But it's not even that. Like, how do you actually design that? Like, how do you build that?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Whatever about drawing something crazy with a dog's head half formed in it. Do you know what I mean?
And then building that actual design. Yeah, we can all come up with crazy ideas and draw something mad, but the guys that actually construct it and make it happen, it's
yeah. And especially to make it hold firm and
yeah,
and like not look shite that you see in some things today, like.
And what I like about this is when he kind of he kind of realizes that it can form into other things. You know what I mean? It's basically like you said, it's a parasite of sort. It's like an alien parasite.
Well, what I've always found with this is a design or the movie is basically a design of something that will do anything to survive.
Yes. Yeah.
and that's all I ever get from it. It's life. It's Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park said a thing. Life will find a way.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
No, I'd agree. I'd 100% agree with that. And kind of what's cool about this is like when when they kind of uncover, whatever data and whatever they get from Norway.
The 9 hours of video.
they get to realize that it's, there's a fucking, they were digging for, an alien craft that they reckon was probably there for as long as a couple of 100,000 years or whatever, and it's...
Well, whatever dies in the snow out there is going to stay there for a long fucking time.
Exactly, yeah. And that's when he starts kind of... that's when Blair then, in particular, starts kind of getting a bit suspect that, this creature could basically morph into anything it wants to on Earth, you know what I mean? If this was to get out.
They've just seen it morph into, or tried to morph into a dog. Do you know what I mean? And technically, it was a dog.
Well, yeah, it was. It was just it morphed into it, and which means they're obviously afraid then that
it could be anything.
It can get into humans and stuff like that as well, and that's where the kind of paro starts creeping in, isn't it? The paranoia starts creeping in.
But this here, there's a lot of this movie focuses a lot on like masculinity between the groups, and I'm the leader, no, I'm this, or who made you that. Do you know what I mean? But when you put paranoia with that, it just makes for bad times.
Yeah.
But like when they come up with the idea for the blood test,
that is genius. That is genius.
That's the infamous scene from this movie, the blood test.
Yeah, and you see the lads are all obviously shitting themselves. You know what I mean?
How does the doctor even come up with that idea? Oh, let's do it this way. I know it's because they set him on fire, but when he was a dog, they set him on fire. But how do you even come up with that? Oh, we'll all take blood, because I know it's because he's talking to the sled dog person. He's like, how long was that dog with you? He's like, I don't know, an hour and a half. So he knew then. It was like, well, we all could be in trouble here.
One of the things I love is when they try and fuck with McCready, and he basically just has like a stick of dynamite.
It's not even just a stick of dynamite. He has a rapid dynamite.
It's a rapid dynamite. He's like, well, fuck it, motherfuckers.
And he has a flare as well.
Yeah, he's like, if you're gonna take me down, boys, I'm the only pilot here. You ain't getting out.
Yeah. I'll go. We'll all go.
Forget about it. You know what I mean? So I'd be kind of taking this lad serious at this point. You know what I mean? I'd be like, all right.
Yeah. Well, he turns into Kurt Russell, Snake Plissken, with the bad attitude now, doesn't he?
Morph into one. Do you know what I mean?
Look, he's got the look of Jack Burton with the attitude of Snake Plissken.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt, man.
I wonder why John Carpenter used him so much. Do you know what I mean? Because he's brilliant.
He's so, the thing about Kurt Russell is he can be a very, very serious actor. He can be great at one-liners. He can be very, very... his sarcasm is second to none.
I think he was a very overlooked actor.
Me too. Yeah. I think he's a very underrated actor, to be fair.
Yeah, he got a couple of big parts, but not as many as he should have.
No, and I think he's very, very diverse as an actor.
He was absolutely brilliant in the Christmas Chronicles.
Yeah, he's fantastic in that. He was also fantastic in The Hateful Eight. I loved watching him. He kept my interest in that movie.
I could not get into that movie.
And I love it.
It's the only Tarantino movie I haven't finished.
Yeah, and I absolutely love it. I fell in love with it. It was 3 hours long, but I think he's one of the key components, the glue, I suppose, that kept that movie together for me. When you get further into it, I know
I must just watch it through and see what I think.
You should, because I had to give up one time because we were trying to watch it with family, and they just kept talking through it, and I was like, "Fuck this! What's the point in watching a Tarantino movie if you're just going to talk during it?" You know what I mean?
I don't mind if they talk through some ones that I've seen before and know what's happening.
Yeah, but when people talk through it, and I'm like, "Listen, this is a solo project for me. Turn the fucker off."
Yeah. I'll do it later.
put on fucking Pinocchio or something, and I'll keep us happy. I don't care.
Yeah, no, but like he has such a good turn from fuck you guys to I'll fuck every one of yous up and don't care.
Yeah, I might just be a pilot, but I'm a whiskey drinking badass. And to be honest with you, I've got a stick of dynamite with a flare here, and fuck y'all.
This is where you get the next big scene that everyone kind of remembers.
Yes, Cooper goes to do the defibrillator. I can never say that word.
The defib.
Yeah. I'm just going to call it that. Thank you. Defibrillation. There we go.
Yeah. Boom. But like he comes out and it's just an innocuous push away from him, and your man falls and has a heart attack, and you're like, well, hold on now, something not right here.
Yeah, like shit's gotten really sour now.
Yeah, and then like obviously they're working on him, but like in the time that it gets the doctor to get there to him on a table, he'd been dead anyway.
And that's it. Like, and without, as I said, we won't do scene for scene, but this is the scene here now. Like, this is obviously when his chest basically just transforms into like a
giant mouth.
Yeah, and bites off Cooper's arms.
Oh, how good is the design in this? Because the other way, obviously, you see the teeth where it breaks down, but you can still see bits of rib sticking out and everything. It's not like they just replaced the whole inside of his cavity. With teeth, like you can see ribs, you can see his organ at times.
Yeah, I mean, obviously going further, we see that McCready will actually like go as far as killing someone, like when he's attacked, which he does.
He doesn't care.
No, it's like,
to be honest with you, it's either you die or I die, one or the other.
It's a life and death thing. We're stuck out here in the Antarctica. I know how to get out of here, to be fair.
You need me more than I need yous.
Yeah, you know. But the little details now as we go throughout the movie, obviously we see the little spider running around.
That spider head is so good.
It's fucking terrifying too. Even to this day, it's still terrifying.
Like I was watching it, and like there's parts of this movie that I'd forget because I haven't seen it in so long. I watched it today. I completely forgot about the spider head. Now I've seen it in other things, you know, like the ads for it and all. But I do. You nearly forget that it comes right from the defib scene where he lights him on fire, and his head comes off, and then the little thing comes out to pull it and pulls him across.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the fuck? But I love the three lads' reactions when they see the head going out. They're like, what the fuck is that? And he just tortures him.
Yeah, and I think, like, obviously with this movie, the big, no pun intended, the big thing is that it's kind of like the way the Walking Dead comics were written. Do you know what I mean? It's more about how humans react to these kind of trials and tribulations rather than the actual threat.
It's a test of your metal, really.
Yeah.
How you handle the stressful situation.
Yeah, you know.
That's what I'm saying. Like that was it. Like either you live or you die, one or the other.
That's it. Do you know what I mean? And I think one of the things that I really, really love about this movie, again, the music in it is amazing. I think it's just
every movie does.
He just knows how to make scenes that are tense anyway, but he pushes the intensity up to fucking 11 with what he does and the sound effects in the background. And he really does. In this movie, I think this, even though it's science fiction because it's based on like an alien thing, it's very much a horror in the sense that you're waiting with bated breath, right?
This is 100% a horror movie.
Yeah, for sure.
In my opinion, it is anyway. Like other people could say it's an action movie. Some people would say sci-fi. Like I'd always determine this more so than a few others as a horror.
I think this is a horror, personally.
Like this, like some people say Terminator 1 is a horror. I don't see it as a horror, but this is definitely a horror.
I think
if people are getting mauled by an alien, I'm gonna give it a horror.
Yeah, what do you think about Blair was obviously someone that was so important at one point in the movie, and then they've isolated him out in the shed, and they have Giles basically fucking guarding him, and you can see he's trying to,
he's a dickhead.
He's trying to manipulate him into fucking, come on, let me out, blah blah blah. This
is where you'll try and turn people against each other.
This is the manipulation, yeah. And then this is the famous fucking, kind of cat and mouse chase where Blair's basically escaped. And they're kind of going, oh fuck, like what are we meant to do now? And I think some of the scenes in this, just in the caves and stuff like that, are fantastic. It's just beautiful, beautiful settings. You know what I mean?
No, I'm not sure how many caves are going to be like that down there, but sure, we'll give it its due.
Yeah,
Antarctic wasn't probably well discovered at that stage anyway.
No. But he's basically trying to get away with a little small flying saucer that obviously has been found around this area. Like, he's trying to escape, and they're saying, like, basically they know that this is now a case of humankind comes first and foremost here. You know what I mean? This is
now the battle.
Yeah. If we let this thing escape, that's it.
We lose.
Yeah. And it's kind of this is where you kind of get the hero McCready. Do you know what I mean? Where it's like, right, we need to. His leadership skills come into play.
Like, this part here literally defines it. Gone. This is when you kind of know, well, nobody might survive this movie now.
Yeah.
This is that point where you go, yeah. So not all of you are making it out, if any of you make it out.
Yeah.
And that's what I always got from it. It was like, okay, it's us against them now, and probably the only way for us to win is to die here and keep it here.
And what I love about it as well is just the two boys share a little bottle of whiskey and say, fuck it, we'll stay by the heat until we can. We'll heat our bodies up with whiskey, get pissed, and just
fuck it.
Fuck it. You know what I mean?
True Irish way.
That most definitely. You know what I mean? Where other people want to be Bear Grylls in this situation, it's just like, fuck it.
Load of alien stuff happening out there. Fuck it.
Fuck it. As long as we make sure that this lad doesn't get anywhere near, the rest of Earth, we're actually all right.
Just... Keep them down there. You'll be grand.
As a whole, I mean, looking at this movie, I mean, I for sure straight away we're going to, I'm 100% giving this 5 slabs of meat, as Carl likes to call it, because I don't think there's anything really wrong with this movie. I think the story is perfect. I think the atmosphere is perfect. I think the acting is perfect throughout all. I think the intensity that he creates throughout it, the music is perfect.
That point there you made with the acting is perfect. That's where a lot of 80s horror got let down badly.
Yes.
The acting, like they went big on actors here. Obviously getting Kurt Russell in and bringing in Keith David. And then a few others, like the dynamic worked between the group.
Yeah.
Now obviously some didn't need to be as big actors as others because it is what it is. Like, you can't blow your whole budget on acting. But that's where a lot of them films got let down, and the likes of the Poltergeist and things like that, as good as they are, were let down by bad acting.
The path is clear.
Yeah. So I mean, like, even if you go back and look at The Exorcist now, to a point, the acting lets it down quite badly at times.
Yeah, no, I see exactly what you're saying. I think Carpenter, I think the reason that he's kind of my favorite director is purely because he gets what he needs from actors in the right way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, he does it very well. He picks his actors. He knows what he's getting.
Exactly. It's like picking, a sports team. You know that you're going to get this piece for this exact situation, and that's it. You know what I mean?
But like, he knew what he was getting. He knew what he wanted. He got good actors in. They might have even been big actors at the time, but he got good actors in.
Yeah.
100%. And like, for the animatronics alone, this is worth 5 slabs.
Oh, I mean, like, I'm just looking at I'm trying to find some kind of critical assessment after, because this is another movie not too dissimilar to last week that kind of gathered more respect as time went on.
It was the second weekend it was out. With the report I was reading earlier, because obviously E.T. dominated the box office the first week. So it was the second week it started to pick up. People were like, well, did you see that one? No, I went to see E.T. Well, you need to go and see this one.
Yeah, I mean,
like it developed, it steamrolled quite quickly from sort of what they reckoned was an opening week box office flop to thing. Now I find it a bit unfair calling it a box office flop on the first weekend. Right, Carpenter could have done better, and Universal it could have done better with the timing of bringing it out.
Yeah.
Maybe a month or two after ET or a month or two before ET. Now I know they wanted the summer blockbuster, but like around that time you would have known ET was gonna be. It's the family friendly version of this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. But I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that this is a movie that, like, I'll try and watch as often as I can, and try and encourage anybody to watch as often. Like there's certain movies, you know, especially as a horror fan, that stick with you, that you know you can watch. You know.
Oh, I have a few, and I've said it on a few of them. Like I'll go back to the Wrong Turn series. I could just put on any one of those 5 or 6 that are there. Nightmare on Elm Street's the one I'll always go back to, though.
Oh, 100%. But The Thing for me is one that I'll always go back to as well. The Thing and Jaws are 2 movies that.
But Jaws is just anybody can sit down and watch Jaws. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's funny with these movies. You'll always find, once you've seen it that many times, you'll always find these little Easter eggs or just these little kind of small things in it that make you even appreciate it more. You know. So what I mean?
I rewatched Jaws there one day a couple of weeks ago with the kids were in here, and I stopped it, you know, when you started seeing the shark big time. So I kind of stopped it, and Finn was like, "Oh, look, it's a shark." I was like, "Yeah, you're not watching the rest of it though."
Not yet, son.
Yeah, not yet. No. But we did. We were sitting here one day 2 weeks ago, and he turned around and said, "Can we watch Ghostbusters?" Yeah. Yes, we can. But like, I don't mind him starting at that sort of. He's only 5 now, but like the likes of Ghostbusters and all is a great way to get kids into it.
Maybe that's what's wrong with me. I've probably seen Jaws around the 5 mark.
Probably. I bet you didn't go swimming in Bray though.
Nope. Didn't go swimming anywhere for a long time. Not even a swimming pool.
I don't blame you.
No. No. And I remember even seeing banana boats out on Bray Beach, like a fair bit out into the water. I just went.
Do you want to go on that in? No.
They're dead. They're dead. Like, and I'm okay with that. I'm a land creature.
Yeah, I'm quite happy. If it's a swimming pool, I'll be fine. The sea, not so much.
I much prefer to be a Sasquatch than
bait.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But no, this has been a great episode. I know we like it. Sometimes we get these episodes where like they're cheap and they're short and cheerful, and I think that's the great.
We had one there with the 25 highest grossing movie franchises. It was just one that we put together, just lightning quick.
And it's the same with this movie. Like it's definitely fun. What about you? How many slabs of meat would you be giving it? Would you be giving it
5? 5. Yeah. Now, for me, Halloween is John Carpenter's best movie, obviously by rating and critically acclaimed and whatnot. But for me, this is better than Halloween.
Yeah, it's the same way. One day we're going to talk about The Fog, and people will realize that John Carpenter, you know, he knows how to do things and scare you, because when we do talk about The Fog, that also has a lot of... it kind of resonates with me as well, growing up in a seaside town. Do you know what I mean?
Although the only thing is, though, Bray doesn't get a whole lot of fog, really.
No, but when we got a tiny bit...
Yeah, you're terrified.
Terrified. You're like, good Lord, Blake is in there somewhere.
We're done here.
We're done. Greg, as always, officially welcome to the team. And yeah, I think for anybody out there that's watching this that hasn't seen The Thing, where have you been all this time? But if you're a younger viewer that hasn't seen The Thing, I would recommend go watching it. And I think for anyone that hasn't done what I said earlier on and gone and watched, the 2011 Thing, watch that first.
I haven't done that.
You got to do it, Greg.
I might do it in a couple of weeks after not having any watched this today.
Do it around Halloween time, even. Just, you know what I mean? Just to give yourself a little bit of a boost, and you won't regret it. You'll thank me for it, because I literally had them boom, one after the other.
So obviously 2011 and then 82.
Exactly.
But what I love is it's kind of filmed in the same way.
Exactly. You don't feel like you're in this kind of massive time difference or warp, and I think it's you know, the narrative that's set within the 2011 film really kind of lends itself to watching the 1982 version. So I would say John Carpenter was actually pretty happy with that, looking back on it, and I know he can be quite critical.
I don't think he is. I don't think, as far as I know, I've read that he doesn't really like it. As far as
he doesn't like many things, though. That's why I like him.
Yeah. But to be fair, like if you've created something like this, and someone's like, "Oh yeah, well we'll go and do this," and make a fucking fuck up of it, like Jaws is the infamous one to look at.
Well, never watch the remake of The Fog. Anybody, if you ever plan on doing that.
I had that unfortunate pleasure once.
Yeah, don't do it. I think I switched it off after about 20 minutes.
I thought it looked great from the box when Chabos was there. It was a big it was a big green box.
But good lord, don't do that to yourself. But yeah, everybody go and check out The Thing. It's one of the best movies of all time, horror or any genre, and yeah, it's a phenomenal show. So for me, for capital C, capital O, this has been the On the Slab Horror Show, and until next time, we will catch you all down the road.